guys, welcome back to Imperium Goddess Diaries. My name is Luiza, and today's episode we're going to be talking about finding your way to your highest self by starting very, very small. And a lot of the time, there's a lot of information out there that talks about how we can get to our highest self or get to the highest timeline or be that person that we want to be. And a lot of the time, we have no fucking idea how to get there because we actually don't really know the energy of that yet. And this is something that I've experienced for a while now, and I've just kind of tapped into the idea of how to actually get to a higher place and to get to a better place without struggling with the idea that you're not there yet. So this episode is going to be all about that. There's going to be a few tips in there and how to work on this. It's going to be a little bit in depth, but I'm really excited to share it with you. So stay tuned. So you're not where you want to be yet, okay? And the reason why you're not where you want to be yet is because you haven't been getting into an energetic alignment to create that person. Now, a lot of the time, the person that we want to be or the person that we think we want to be feels very, very, very far away. And I have felt like this many times. It's almost like I just don't know how to even get there. So sometimes you struggle with even starting. But the point is that a lot of the time, because we live in, it seems linear, but it's not, we do have access to our higher self. We have access to who we want to be. But because we live in the 3D physical reality, it just takes a little bit longer time to materialize into that person, which means that you need to start taking steps into getting into that energetic alignment. Which is the pretty cool thing about that is like what I found when I figured this out and I started actually seeing it implement into my reality. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And in my last video, the video on manifestation, the language of the universe is through action. So you do still need to take action to being who you want to be, not just getting the things you want, but just becoming who you want to be. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 ways to kind of get yourself into that alignment, and then notice when you're changing the energy so you can start gaining that traction and inspiration towards the things that you want to be or the things that you want to become. Because when you start gaining that traction and momentum, that is all based on inspiration, but it's all based on an energy shift. So you've shifted up again, you've shifted up to another level, which means you're seeing things in a different way, at a different level, with a different lens. So this stuff is actually pretty cool. And this has been experimenting with this on my own. So I'm not telling any bullshit. I'm not like lying about it. I'm not making any money out of this, but I just want to mention it to you because I'm just noticing that this is where, like, so much of the manifestation community, this is where it lacks. I'm sorry, this is where it lacks. So I'm gonna be really real with you guys. I'm gonna be really honest about it. But these are the 3 big factors that you will need to start doing, or you will be doing, or like in the, and it has to be in the same way. It has to be the way that I talked about, because you can't do one without having to do the other one first. So let's going. So this is you're at the starting point, number 1. This is number 1. And you're looking at yourself, the person that you want to be. You visualized her or him, you're looking at them, you're like, I want to be this person. I don't know like how to get there. I don't understand how to get there. Step 1 is you have an idea in your head on what you can do. So say, for example, your highest self, your highest timeline, you're going to be, I don't know, a singer, or you're going to be someone who owns a business. You're going to have a nonprofit. Okay. A lot of these things are far away, but what I found I like to look at is what you have access to right now. What do you have right now that you can work with that is going to kind of get you in baby steps towards it? Because I know a lot of the time, because so many of us are impatient, i.e. myself, it's like, how can I just get to the end level, like to just the end right now? Well, I want to get to my goal right now, and it's a process, So what you need to do is start looking at the small little tangible things that you have in your reality, and what can I start doing to get myself to that place that I want to be, in that career that I want. What can I start doing? So you do have to start from square one, even though that's just not a nice thing to say. And I found that very, very difficult to swallow, because I was like, I really think that I could just do it all right now, but it's just not really going to work that way. You need to learn, you need to become, you need to experience, you need to fail a little bit to start getting the ball rolling. So what I like to do is look at the little things that you can do right now that will get you into the space of getting more inspiration and energy towards the person you want to become. So it could be anything to do with things like, how do you conduct yourself every day? And what interests do you have, and what interests do you involve yourself in every day that gets you moving into the space that you want to be? It could be somehow you conduct your mornings. It could be the things that you study. It could be a workplace that you work in. It could be community groups that you can invest yourself in. It could be like this guy that you watch on YouTube every night. So what is this energy shift that you need to start doing to kind of just move into that? And it could be so small. It could be so little, but it's going to make a massive difference because you're going to keep consistent with it, and you're going to start moving into the direction of where you need to be through small baby steps. So, say for example, if you do want to be a singer or a kind of musician, can you take up either lessons? Can you either watch videos, or can you buy like something like even secondhand, something that's going to inspire you to move forward? Can you start doing those little things that maybe they don't even need to cost much, but they're just getting you in those right directions, in that energy. Once you can start producing the energy, that's when you start really seeing the results. But I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that in step 2. So step number 2. So step number 2, you're starting to do the thing. You're starting to move forward. You're starting to kind of see like, okay, these are things that work. These are things that maybe don't work, because sometimes you're going to go into something like, oh, this doesn't really align with me. But what you can do is you'll intuitively, find your way into something that's going to end up working for you, and even push yourself through it as well. So what I have found is when you start to do the inner work, you do the little things first, you work with what I have, access to. I don't have all the bells and whistles yet. That's fine. I don't have the end goal just yet, but that's fine. I'm working to get there to that person. So when you start by doing all these things, you start to pick out, go, okay, this isn't working, this is working. I can put this with this, I can put this with this can start aligning with this, and you'll start to see how they match up together, and your routines and it's all honestly all about routines. It's when you start to match things together and start to work with the energy you have, starting to map out each day, you'll start to even see along the lines of the structure that you need to plan your day out, and a structure that you need to plan out all the things that you need to create the person that you want. And you might even start seeing visibility on what you need to be doing each day to be that person that you want to become. So you can even, like in this instance, I think we can even add this to like number 2, is when you start getting into this flow and you start really seeing this energy, you start doing your research. You could even be watching YouTube channels on the things you want to call in and create and become. You'll start going, okay, well, how does this person live? And this person is someone that I will either want to aspire to be like, or in my own way, or they have the job that I want. How do they kind of live their life? And then you'll start noticing, okay, this is the type of things that they do. And what you can do is you can implement your own version of that in your day. And you can even map out the times of day that you can do things that obviously work with you, and start to create the energy flow and what makes sense to you and what you actually want to do. So you can start just blending everything together. And so this is going to create a really nice way of you just seeing things a little bit more streamlined, because when we are too wishy-washy, and when we are not stable, and when we are not fully secure in all of our decisions, and we're just picking things at random, that's just not going to be stable. It's just not going to work. You do have to put in the effort. You have to put in the action. And I was just like, I was not like this. I was like, no, everything's just going to fall in my lap. Waiting. It doesn't. And I was just, I had this like audacity to expect everything to fall in my lap. Some things did, but some things don't. Some things you do have to work for. So that's really, really cool. And I just love that, like, I've been able to figure this out and just tell everyone, because I knew somewhere along the lines that my annoying struggles with myself, as it was me getting in my own way, I somehow was going to give it to everybody else. So I really love this. Just a little bit decoy about me, but we'll go back to about you. So yeah, number 1, start doing the things. Start looking at the things, what you can do. Number 2, you're doing the things. You're starting to map out how you can do the things to work for you. And then number 3 is like the kickers. Number 3 is when you can really start opening up like your valves and your energies. And number 3 is so cool, because the energy that you notice within yourself is going to be massive. And you might not notice it straight away. So you'll be slogging it out, doing these routines day by day, or doing the things and doing the learning, doing the actions day by day. You'll start going into it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, your perspective will start shifting. And your perspective will start shifting because you're going to start noticing things that you haven't noticed before. And this is like the magic. I'm telling you, this is the magic, because you start putting yourself in the vibration of what you want to be. Even if you only have the littlest things that you can do and you don't have access to a lot, it does not matter. What matters is you're moving yourself towards the energetics, and those energetics will start opening you up to inspiration, and you'll start getting different ideas, and you're like, oh, I've never thought of that before. I'm going to implement that. Or I've never thought of looking that up before. Or you'll start even noticing things that you can attend. You start noticing maybe even books that you need to read or people that you need to reach out for, or things will start falling into your lap of that are in alignment with the thing that you want to create or the person that you want to be. It's so cool because just you'll notice the changes because you're putting in the effort and you're putting out the energy, you're putting out the vibration. And you're just like, oh yeah, they're doing so good. Let's give them some things so they can look at and they can experience. And it's so, and you're like, oh my god. So it's really, really cool. So you'll start doing that. You'll start to really kind of bask in it and revolve in it, and you'll say you'll see something may pop up on like Facebook or Instagram will just be related to what you need for the time, and you'll know it. You'll intuitively know it. You're like, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go to this event. I'm led to the path of this way because it's not like this. It's like this. Much to our dismay, we want it to be like this. We want it to be easy. Do you know how long I wanted things to be easy? It was like my biggest battle with myself, wanting it to be easy, and it's just not going to be easy. But it can be easy in the way that you do it, because when you start creating and co-creating with what you have, you'll start to bring in the everything that you require to be at that highest level of yourself, which is really, really cool. So when you start rolling in it and rolling in the energy and you're getting some opportunities, you're meeting the right people, and you get all of a sudden just in the right spaces, you'll then go, oh, okay, I haven't thought of this idea before because I wasn't the energetic match for this idea to pop in. Let that sink in. I didn't think of this idea before because I wasn't in the energetic match for that idea. You are not, I'm telling you, you are not going to attract what you're not energetically matched to. Like, that's just not going to happen. But what you are going to attract at the level that you're trying, you'll start to open up and you'll see it's like a different parts of your brain, parts of your psyche, parts of your soul, parts of your spirit will go, oh, now I can have my say and I can communicate with you on what you need to be doing. And that's the magic. And I've seen that many times within myself. And I've watched it because I would watch some people and I'm like, how do you just get there? Like, it would never make sense to me. And I'm like, hang on a second. It gets there because I've switched up my world. I've switched up my levels. I've switched up my vibration, my routines, everything. I just started moving towards the goal with very little that what I did have, a little that I understood, and I put myself out there, and then everything started like looking. It's like everything goes, oh, I'm gonna give her what she needs, well, for the level that she's sitting at, and that is some beautiful experiences. Like, that is, and when you really are open up to it, it can be very, very small, it can be very minuscule, but that's the beauty of it. When you really appreciate the little ones as well, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of that before, because you weren't in the energetic match to receive that type of information. Because you've done this level of work, you've gone up to this level, you've raised it, you're like, oh, and it's a whole other another world. It's a whole other world out there. It's a whole other level, and you're like, ooh, like more things that I can play with, more things that are in better alignment with me. I feel more connected to, I'm less connected to who I was before, I'm more connected to who I want to be. And that shift is really cool because you start to move forward into it and you see your old self. So I'll probably get into old patterns in other videos, just because I'm experiencing still some of my own, which is like the person who I was, the person that I am now, the person that I want to be. Because they're still coming along for the ride. If you haven't healed and integrated that, because that is a lot of that is shadow work. We love it. We love to hear it. It exists. Shadow work exists, and people need to be doing it, because when you do start moving towards the person that you want to be, your shadows will be so much louder because you haven't worked on them. But it's cool because when you do start working on them and you start to notice, okay, I'm getting triggered by this situation, I'm getting blockages in this situation, I can't quite do this, why? You start to get really real with this. You have to be real with yourself. You can't like glaze over shadow work and be like, oh, it's from this experience and this experience. And you're like, no, you need to get in deeper and look at the why and notice and decide that I'm going to make a different decision. Can I make a different decision? Am I going to succumb to this every time? Am I going to succumb to this comfort zone? Because that's not going to get me anywhere, because sometimes you may go between like 1 and 2. You may go back, you may go forward, but the going back will be so much more noticeable because you'll just feel like less aligned. I was going to say less productive, but it is true, but you just feel less aligned with yourself. When I say you would slip back into maybe like old habits or comfort zones, I'm like, I don't know if I like it as much here anymore. This doesn't make me feel as good. This isn't serving me. This isn't like this isn't really even my comfort zone. This is just I'm just uncomfortable because I'm thinking about all the things I should be doing, and I'm not really taking rest because I want to. I'm taking rest because like it's easy. No, you obviously if you ever intuitively need rest, like today for example, I didn't go to the gym. I just went for like an hour long walk and did like some gentle yoga, just because like I'm day 2 of my bleed and I need to chill. I had feelings of guilt. I was like, babe, you should be in the fucking gym. You should be burning those calories. And I'm like, no, I'm not listening to that bullshit. I'm just not. That's not who I want to be. So you'll notice yourself. You notice yourself getting triggered. You notice yourself going, oh, okay, I'm not behaving in the way in the mind frame, the mindset, in the vibration of who I want to be. I'm noticing the triggers come up. Does this trigger serve me? No, fuck it off. Like literally, like literally. And they could be so, and this is what I talk about in my astrology sessions, is like your south node, which is your comfort zone. And my God, some people, and especially, and even me, not especially, but I've seen myself, my comfort zone is so deep because I have all these planets surrounding my south node, connected to my south node, connected to like my my comfort zone. So I was big on going back into the comfort zone because I had so much energy towards it, and I'm like, no, I'm making active change to get out of that. So that's another way of really figuring yourself out, figuring out what your comfort zone is having visibility on it. You might not even know it, and that's why astrology is so amazing because it really helps with that. I digress though. Now, when you start seeing these changes, you're seeing these inspirations and you're seeing these new ideas come in and opportunities, this is so exciting, and this only just builds on that energy, that builds on that fruitfulness, it builds in that like that electric feeling that you get inside. You're like, oh my God, like, and you have this sense of like, I can feel what I'm doing is right. It's so fucking cool. Like what you will feel what you're doing is so right because you're moving towards it, and you'll start to get these like, oh my God, I know that there's a term going around called glimmers, and there are glimmers and it's like, oh, like, yes, like I've moved towards something. It's making sense. Like I am making sense. I'm living in closer alignment to what I want to be. So you'll experience that. You just need to take the steps to get there, and those steps are little. And don't beat yourself up how little they are. They could be anything. They could be the smallest change in the time that you wake up. It could be clocking on to for this person's like the YouTube video that you want to watch. It could be anything. It could be even be like a hobby that you want to be doing. I know for example, for me, like I love dance so much, but I've had such a blockage with going back to dancing because of my own ego. And I'll just be real with you guys. Like I'm just annoyed because like I probably might not be the best in the class, and that's why like I stopped myself from going. And then I looked at that and I was like, as if you would behave that way. I'm like, what the fuck is that? How could you not want to go because you may not be the best in class? There's always gonna be someone who has a different style of dance to you. I think because my ego is like so pride myself on being a good dancer, and I know I am. But I'm like, if you don't continuously go, you're not going to be as good. So like, what's your problem? And I had a very very aggressive, abrupt conversation with them. I'm like, what's your problem? I was like, if you're not going to be as good if you don't go. So why are you not going? And then I guess like the ego, the comfort zone was like, oh, didn't have an answer for me. Yeah, I was like, well, exactly. So shut the fuck up. We're gonna go to dance, and you're going to dance every week, and I've been consistent. And I'm like, okay, those energetics that get me, like my hobbies, like the things that you love doing, the energetics of your hobbies are probably could be not even related to what you want to be, but those get you into like that really high vibe state. And I find that I even the next day after dance, I may not even sleep well that night because I'm so buzzing, but the next day I come up with a million ideas because I'm so elevated in the vibration. I'm just pumping out all these things that I want to create. It's really really cool. It's all energy. It's all creator energy. It's all vibration. It's honestly, it makes sense to me. When a lot of people spoke about it, I was just like, oh, like I know energy's the thing. I get it. Like, it just wasn't landing until you experience it for yourself. So get out there and do the things. Do fucking things. Okay. So number one, we're gonna go through this one more time. Number one, look at where you can start to get in alignment with your highest version of yourself. Look at what you can do and start implementing the plans. Number two, start to refine them. Start to go, okay, where can I put things in certain places? What is working, what isn't working, and shape that up. Number three, when you start evolving, you will notice your energetic shift will attract better opportunities, more ideas, more creativity, and more alignment, and you'll start to roll with that excitement, and you'll start to keep going. And that's when that traction happens. You're like rolling, you know. So it's really exciting, and I'm really excited to share this with you guys because I really believe this is going to change things for people. It's going to change things, and shift up the game. Like I said, I don't really hear about this specific thing when it comes to manifestation much. It's all like, write down your goals and your visions, and then envision them, and get into meditation. And like, I love that, and it does work. But you just need to take some fucking action. So I'm here for the people who like have been struggling with that and need to take action. Because sometimes we need to really see it for ourselves. We need to hold it. It needs to be tangible. You know what I mean? You can be really high vibe and get nothing because you're not doing anything. Sorry, it's true. So that concludes my video. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions below. I'm going to be delving more into this topic because I just think it's really important for people to understand. And I will see you guys in the next week.